Okay, alrighty. Getting the most out of your workouts and getting the most out of your time. So basically, if you're going to the gym, you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it so you're not wasting your time. Just because I know a lot of you guys are crammed on time and you only have like 30 to 60 minutes to work out. And so we want to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck while you are in the gym. Okay, so biggest thing is train with intention. So a lot of you guys are on top of this because you're in this program. So I'm sure before this program, if you worked out at the gym, you're like, oh, I'll just go and do a couple arm exercises here, maybe a lat pull down, maybe I'll do this. Oh, this machine is open, so I'll go over there. And so you're kind of just like wandering around the gym. It's so much more important to go into the gym knowing that you have a plan and knowing exactly what you're doing. So that way you don't waste time and you know that every exercise you do has a purpose. And so knowing what you're training and why is really important. And if there's any exercises, I know we'll throw in some fun exercises into our programming that are probably pretty unique to us or pretty unique as in like you've never done them before. And so if you are confused why you're doing a certain exercise, ask your trainer. And there's probably a pretty good reason why you're doing the exercise. And that will help you understand why it's important and why you should focus on it. So I know there's a lot of things like backwards walking. If you've never walked backwards before, you're like, hey, this sounds silly. And I feel weird staring at people behind me on the cardio machines and making eye contact with them. Like, why am I doing this? But then once you realize like it helps your knees become healthy, it really warms up your knees, your joints, your quads, all the ligaments and tendons around your muscles, then you're like, okay, backwards walking actually has a real purpose and it's really good for my body. And so you're more confident in that when you're doing it. So knowing what you're doing and why can be really important. And so if you're ever confused about an exercise, ask your trainer what the exercise does and why it's in your program. And having a clear plan will help you focus better at the gym so you're not wasting time, and it will get you better results. So another way to get the most out of your workouts is warm up like it matters, because it does. So every time I am going to do a lifting session, I'll walk backwards for 5 to 10 minutes on the treadmill, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can do like 10 minutes on the elliptical, or you can do a few like dynamic stretches, whatever you prefer, but this will help prepare your joints and your muscles and your nervous system for the workout. It's never good to go into a workout cold, and so make sure that you do some form of workout or warm up before your workout. And if you guys want the warm-ups more programmed into your workouts, make sure to communicate that with your trainer and we can add those more in there. I know sometimes we'll add in the backwards walking or like shoulder warm-ups, like band dislocates and stuff like that. But if you want a little bit more, then we can definitely program more in there for you. And then it also helps improve your strength because it gets blood flowing to the muscles, and it improves movement quality because it gets your range of motion opened up for the exercises. And it also reduces your risk of injury because you're not just putting loads on cold muscles. They're actually warmed up and prepared and ready to work out. Another way to get the most out of your workouts is remember that form beats ego, or form beats your trainer pushing you really hard. So I know I set a lot of personal lifting goals for some of my clients who've been in the program for a while. So I really try to push them to lift heavier. And I never want them to give up their form to hit those numbers that I'm assigning them. And so form always beats the amount of weight that you're lifting. So if you're lifting too heavy where you're breaking form, then just drop down in weight. It's okay. You'd rather keep form than go up in weight. So quality reps really build muscle and strength. And then also if you're kind of swinging things, or if you have to like twist your back to lift a certain weight up, that can increase your risk of injury. So we want to avoid that. So make sure that you're controlling every rep through its full range of motion. And that leads me into my next point, is control the tempo. So slowed and controlled reps help increase muscle tension, which can help you build more muscle strength, stability, and balance over time. So we want to make sure that we're going slow and controlled. And so if you guys have noticed, if you've ever done like ab in and outs where you're leaning back on your hands and you're kicking your feet in and out, The faster you go, the easier it is because there's not a lot of tension on the muscle. But if you slow it down, like count out for 3 seconds and then go back in for 3 seconds, it gets much, much harder because you're putting more tension on that muscle, which will actually help you in the long run and it will help you become stronger. And also, I want to emphasize especially control in the lowering phase. So let's say we're doing a bicep curl. Instead of just curling up and working and then just dropping the weight, I want you to control the weight down. So you're not just dropping the weight, you're using that contraction on the way down as well. And that will also help you build more muscle and strength. Then training close to failure. It doesn't need to be failure every single time. Sometimes we'll put to failure on some exercises like pull-ups and stuff like that. But you should be training really, really close to failure. Like the last 1 to 2 to 3 reps should be super, super hard where you're making an ugly face, okay? You're squinting, you're breathing heavy, you're breaking a sweat. Like it should be challenging for you. If you hit the 12th rep of the exercise and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad, then you should lift heavier weights, okay? So we wanna make sure that you're training close to failure. So you're picking a weight that pushes you to train close to failure, but you're not breaking form. So you have to find that happy medium there because muscles grow when they're challenged and you don't need to fail every set, but we do want you to avoid stopping way too early. We need to make sure that you're making yourself uncomfortable, you're pushing yourself past your comfort zone, and it should be very challenging. But you can also train with like 1 to 2 reps in reserve. So what that means is the last rep should be really challenging, but it shouldn't be that you're failing on the last rep. You should be able to do like maybe 1 or 2 reps after your last rep. So that's called 1 to 2 reps in reserve. So resting with intention is how you can get the most out of your workouts. If you're just grinding every single day, your body isn't going to get stronger. It's going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead to mental exhaustion. You're probably going to get injured and your body is going to naturally slow you down by making you feel low energy, making you feel groggy, making you feel sore and stuff like that. So resting with intention will actually help you get more out of your workouts. So make sure that you take those rest days. You shouldn't be in the gym 7 days a week. It's much, much better if you train 3, 4, maybe 5 days for people who are really experienced, but getting at least 1, 2, 3 rest days a week is really, really good for your body because your muscle doesn't build when you're in the gym. It actually gets torn down. And if it doesn't have time out of the gym to rebuild, or it doesn't have that time to rest and rebuild, then you're actually doing more damage than what you could be doing if you actually took the time to rest and let your body rebuild. So it's really important that you do take rest. And then also with rest, that also means resting between sets on your workouts. So with your workouts, if you are lifting heavy enough, you should be having to take the rest. And while you're resting, I want you to sit down and chill, okay? So just sit there, do nothing, and don't be doing like ab exercises while you're resting on squats. Don't be jogging in place while you're resting on bicep curls. Just chill out. Let your body recover. And that's going to make it so you can lift so much heavier on the working sets. Okay, progressive overload. Training with progressive overload in mind, this is probably one of the most important things that you can do to get the most out of your workouts. So it's whether you, Destiny said, so I shouldn't dance to my playlist between sets. Yes, but not too aggressively. Maybe just like sit down and do a little wiggle instead. But okay, so progressive overload is progressing or doing like a little bit better than what you did the week before. So whether you're increasing the weight, so let's say you lifted 12 pounds, now you're increasing the weight to 15 pounds, or let's say you did 6 reps. So this week you're gonna be trying to hit 7 reps, or if you're just improving your technique, so you're controlling the weight a little bit better. All of those are considered progressive overload. And the way that you know you're doing that is by tracking your workouts. So that's the reason why we have you track your workouts in the app. So that way we can hold you accountable to progressive overload and make sure that you are getting stronger and you are pushing yourself every week. And even those small improvements will make a huge difference over time. I know a lot of times I will hit a workout for like 3 weeks in a row at the same. And then one time I'm able to do one more rep and I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem like a lot, but if you do one more rep each week for 52 weeks, so for the entire year, that is going to really help push you to the next level and help you get much stronger. So even though one rep in one exercise won't make a huge difference in that workout, if you compound that over time, it's going to make a huge, 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 huge difference. All right, so fuel your workouts. Carbs equal energy. So it's really, really important that we don't cut out carbs. That's why we don't cut out carbs in this program. We want you to actually eat carbs so you feel good and feel energized in your workouts and get more out of your workouts. And then also, of course, with protein, so you can recover and rebuild your muscle. And underfueling can lead to weak workouts. So with your workouts and fueling them, I want you to try to eat something, like if you're working out in the morning, just eat something small, like 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes before your workout, so your body has time to digest it and actually have it get in your system. And that can be anything like protein oats. It could be egg toast or egg avocado toast, something where you have a good carb source and then a good protein source, and that will really help you get good fuel for your workouts. And just try to have it 20 to 30 minutes before, so that way your stomach's not too full and it's had time to digest and get into your system. Why hydration matters more than you think. So even mild dehydration reduces strength. And I think if any of you guys have ever been really dehydrated before, you realize how kind of like lethargic you feel. You can't really think clearly. Your brain's kind of foggy. You're not as sharp. And so even mild dehydration can really, really take a toll on your workouts. So you should be drinking before your workout, and then every 15 minutes during your workout is a good gauge to drink like a cup of water. So 8 ounces every 15 minutes while you're working out should help keep you hydrated during your workouts. And then make sure that you're refueling afterwards and getting lots of water in afterwards, so that way you're not dehydrated from your workout for the rest of the day. So staying hydrated, super important. And if you're doing lots of sweaty workouts, so if you're one of our marathon runners, or if you do MMA or jiu-jitsu or anything like that, it might be a good idea to add in electrolytes into your water while you're working out, so that way you can replenish electrolytes and not just the water lost. But typically, if you don't have super sweaty workouts, you don't really need to add electrolytes, because you'll be getting enough electrolytes and sodium just throughout your diet, especially if we're living in America. We got lots of sodium in our diet here. And yes, just drink consistently throughout the day, not just during your workouts. And I think I got the rest and recovery a little bit mixed up on this slide. So I already covered this, but make sure that you are recovering and treating it as a part of training, and making sure that you're getting those 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. So sleep is one of the most important things that you can do in your health journey. Like, to improve your health, it's one of the most important things that you can do. I would even prefer that you get more sleep rather than cutting your sleep short and getting in a workout. That's how important sleep is. So sleep really helps with fat loss and muscle growth. While you're resting, that's when your body can rebuild and repair and grow. And then also while you're sleeping, that's when your hormones regulate. So I'm sure you guys have noticed, if you've ever had a poor night's sleep, or if you weren't able to sleep as long as you needed to, then you kind of feel like groggy, a little bit slowed down throughout the day. You can't quite think as clearly. And so making sure that you do give your body enough time to sleep can really help improve not only your muscle growth, it'll help improve your energy levels, and then it'll also help regulate your hormones, which can ultimately lead to fat loss. So it's very important. And then with recovery, just making sure that you're getting some light movement, stretching, or stress management, because all of that really does matter. There are a few people that we've worked with that are very lean, and just the few last pounds were sticking onto them, and they didn't know why, but then they realized that they're so stressed in their life because they're busy, they're like working full time, they're moms, and they have so much on their plate. But once we help them develop some more stress management techniques where they really learn to manage their stress, that's when those last few pounds could come off, because sometimes your body will just hold on to weight because of the cortisol released from stress. So if you can learn how to manage your stress in a healthier way, that can also help any fat loss goal that you have. Alrighty, that is the whole presentation. So do any of you guys have any questions from that? No?
No, I love the topic though. One thing I love about using this app and doing these workouts is it automatically puts me in a focus mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that has been huge, because I used to just kind of go and I'd have a plan, but I, kept it up here, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
So I would kind of bounce around, but I do my best. Sometimes I have to mix things around just depending on the crowd, but for the most part, I go down the list, you know what I mean? And it helps me stay focused.
Totally. And I think the cool thing about this app, like the best thing about it for me when I do my workouts in here, is that I see my numbers from last time and I'm like, okay, let's see, can I lift like a little bit heavier? Can I do like one more rep? And so it's kind of like a game where it's like, okay, let's see if I can like beat myself from last time. So I think it's fun in that way too. Okay, anybody else have any other questions? And it doesn't have to be necessarily on getting the most out of your workouts. It can be any question, any fitness question, I should say.
I do on the, so when you mentioned if you can, so you look at your last weeks and you say, okay, I lifted that much, but if you're, so for instance, sometimes you'll have one in there where it's 15 reps, and I'll pick a weight and I can do it fine for maybe 10 reps, but I can't do the full 15. Is it better to go lower to do the full 15 or to keep it at the weight for the 10 and then try to get 15 by the end maybe?
Yeah.
Is that like what that would be?
Yeah. So with the first week of exercises, I want you to try to pick a weight that you can do all 15 reps. And then the next week, if you hit all 15 reps for all 3 sets, try a heavier weight. And if you only hit 10 reps, then that's totally fine. Then use that weight over the next 3 to 4 weeks to try to get up to 15. So let's say the next week you get 10 reps, the next week you get 11, and then the next week you get 12. And by the 5th week, you're lifting 15 reps with that a little bit, or that little heavier of a weight, then that's like huge progress. But I know the 15 reps can be a little bit much for increasing weight, but it's totally fine if you don't hit the full 15 reps if you are trying the heavier weight. The goal is to build yourself up to being able to hit the 15 reps.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good question. Anybody else have questions on that? Cute dog, Susan. So cute.
I have 3 wieners and they have to be on top of me. So that's why I had to move.
Oh, what a problem to have.
I know, I love them so much.
Can I somehow have permission to turn that into a joke, please?
Everybody does.
Okay.
I usually say I have 4 wieners at home, but 3 are wieners and 1's to dick.
I like that.
Love it.
I need to write that down immediately.
Kyle's getting material for his shows. Okay, sweet. Well, if none of you guys have any questions, okay, do you guys have any topics of what you would like to be, I guess, talked about or presented on? Because I kind of came up with this one out of thin air. So if there's anything that you guys are wanting to learn, let me know. You can think about it and drop it in the community too. But make sure you tag me so I see it. Sometimes I don't see all the posts. Okay, well, you guys are awesome. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.